everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 5 driving tips for changing lanes. Changing lanes is a crucial part of driving because chances are that every single time that you drive, you're going to be changing lanes many times. So with that being said, these 5 tips will help you change lanes safer, properly, more effectively. You will become better at changing lanes if you implement these 5 tips. Now let's get right into it. Tip number 1 is always signal in advance. What you want to make sure that you're doing is you are letting everyone know that you have plans to change lanes. Now let me explain why this is very important. Let's say that you're driving and you are about to change lanes. You check your mirrors, you check your blind spot, you don't see anybody there, so you put your signal on and you quickly change lanes. Well, what happens if you didn't see the person or the car that was in your blind spot? What happens? If you signaled and then changed lanes right as you put your signal on, that person isn't going to get an advance notice and you're probably going to get into an accident. You're likely going to get into an accident. But if you put your signal on in advance, the person beside you in your blind spot that you didn't see can say, oh, this person's going to change lanes. They probably didn't see me. Let me brake or speed up. Let me get out of the way. So with that being said, it's for the safety of you and the benefit of you, but also even more so for the benefit of everyone around you. So signal in advance. Tip number 2, don't forget to check your blind spot. Many people take their driving test, they check their mirrors, they check their blind spots, and they switch lanes. But with that being said, it's a habit that often, gets sort of thrown out the window, for a lack of a better term, as people have had their license. They get into the habit of just checking their mirrors and putting their signal on and waiting there. This is especially true, as if people have neck pain, they just don't check their blind spot. Checking your blind spot is crucial because it shows you something that you can't see with only your mirrors. If you only check your mirrors, you're taking a chance every single time that you switch lanes. So with that being said, check your mirrors and also check your blind spot before you switch lanes to make sure that it's safe to do so. Listen, you're driving a vehicle that weighs several thousand pounds at a relatively high rate of speed. Even if you're going 30 kilometers an hour, that's still pretty fast to be moving this thing that weighs several thousand pounds. So with that being said, check your blind spot. It's as simple as that. Tip number 3. Don't change lanes too gradually or too aggressively, okay? You want to find that perfect balance of how quickly you need to get from one lane to the next. Put your signal on, check your mirrors, check your blind spot, and make your way into the next lane. It shouldn't take you a long time, but you also shouldn't be swerving into the next lane. You want to get that perfect balance of too gradual and too aggressive, and you want to take a decent amount of distance to switch lanes. So find that perfect balance. If you think you're changing lanes too gradually, speed it up a little bit. Do it a little bit faster. If you feel like you're changing lanes too aggressively, then obviously you want to make sure that you do it a little bit slower. It should be smooth, and just make sure you do it not too gradually, but not too aggressively. Tip number 4. Maintain speed while changing lanes. What you don't want to do is you're driving 50 kilometers an hour and you push your brakes as you change lanes and you go down to 30 kilometers an hour. You shouldn't be changing lanes if that's the case. If you need to slow down, you probably should have stayed in the lane that you were in, and you shouldn't need to press your brake in order to switch lanes. Switch lanes when you can maintain speed switching lanes. Put your signal on, check your mirrors, check your blind spot, change lanes smoothly, and maintain speed. If you're going 50 kilometers an hour in this lane and you want to switch to this lane, maintain your speed. Don't slow down. Don't speed up. Obviously, if you switch lanes and the person in front of you in the new lane hammers their brake, yes, you have to slow down. I don't want you to get, slow down if you need to slow down, but try as often as possible, as much as possible, to maintain your speed when changing lanes. And you should only be changing lanes when the person in front of you in the next lane is far enough in front that you're not going to need to hammer your brakes or anything like that. Last but not least, tip number 5 is to avoid constantly changing lanes or weaving in traffic. Okay, so it's as simple as that. What you don't want to do is don't change lanes to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Don't do that. Don't weave through traffic. Don't constantly change lanes. Avoid doing that, okay? Figure out what lane you need to be in and switch lanes to that lane and drive in there as long as you need to drive. If you need to switch lanes 2 or 3 times, that's fine. Switch lanes as often as you need to, but don't go over the top and constantly switch lanes. Listen up, you're probably not going to save that much time anyways by weaving through traffic and constantly switching lanes, and you're greatly increasing the chance of getting into an accident, because when you switch lanes 10 times, you become a little bit more comfortable, a little bit sloppy. And with that being said, like if you're driving and you're only switching lanes twice within that commute, let's say, or 3 times, then you're gonna do all the proper checks. You're gonna take your time. But if you're focused on getting to the next lane as quickly as possible, only to go back and forth, you sort of get sloppy. You start checking your mirrors and blind spot like that instead of properly checking your mirrors and your blind spot. So it greatly increases the likelihood of you getting into an accident or an almost accident, a near accident, if you sort of keep changing lanes and weave through traffic. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 5 driving tips for changing lanes. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. What are some other tips for changing lanes? Let me know as a comment down below, and of course be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.